Hey guys, it's Margie, and today I'm doing a movie review of the 1985 film Back to the Future. Before I get into this review, I would just like to say I'm much recovered from my cold from last week, so thank you so much. But anyway, before I review this film, I just want to say I know there are people that are absolute die-hard fans of this movie. They think it is the best movie in the universe. It's their favorite movie, yada, yada, yada. This was actually my first time to see this movie, and I know you guys are all shocked, but I'm so glad I did, so let me get into this one a little bit. This film starred Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Lea Thompson, Crispin Glover, Thomas F. Wilson, Claudia Wells, Mark McClure, Wendy Jo Sperber, George DiCenzo, Francis Lee McCain, James Tolkien, J.J. Cohen, Casey Siemaszko, Billy Zane, and Harry Waters Jr. As you all know, it was directed by Mr. Robert Zemeckis, who also directed Forrest Gump and pretty much everything else in the universe. Edited by Harry Karamideus and Arthur Schmidt, who Arthur Schmidt also edited Last of the Mohicans, which I've done a previous review of. Music by Alan Silvestri. Oh, I just had a smile from it. I'm a huge Alan Silvestri fan. Cinematography by Dean Cundy, who also did cinematography for Apollo 13 and Jurassic Park. Written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. Produced by Bob Gale, Neil Canton, Kathleen Kennedy, who often produces with Spielberg. She produced Lincoln and several other things. And Frank Marshall, who produced Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Sixth Sense. Okay, guys, so the basic plot for this movie, I'm sure all of you know, but I just have to say it for the people who have never seen this film. The basic plot is there's this young guy, and he's friends with this old and crazy doctor character, and the doctor has invented a time machine, and so Michael J. Fox, the young man, goes back in time to try and change some events that have happened. Anyway, I know it's kind of dorky, but see the trailer. Okay. So let's jump into performances here. Michael J. Fox, I thought, had a really, really lovely performance. I did. I don't think there was anything else he could have done with the role, and I liked his enthusiasm, his energy. I thought was very fun and youthful and just perfect for this movie. Christopher Lloyd was great. He was really good. I enjoyed his performance. I read in some trivia that Jeff Goldblum was also considered for the role of the Doctor, which obviously Christopher Lloyd had, and I gotta say, Jeff Goldblum would have crushed it, I think. But I thought Christopher Lloyd was great. Excuse me, I still have a little bit of this cold. Christopher Lloyd was good, and I liked the fact that he seemed so eccentric, and I liked that he was very over the top, and I thought he had a really, really great performance. Everybody else that I mentioned was great, so they had a really good supporting cast on this one, I thought. It didn't blow me away, but they were all very supportive, which is what they're supposed to do. They're moving on to direction. I thought the directing was lovely, and if you don't know who Robert Zemeckis is, you need to, just Wikipedia him. He has directed Forrest Gump, as I said, but, I mean, he is such a fabulous director. I mean, he is so brilliant, and this is a perfect example of why he is so brilliant, because this was, to me, it could have been such an ordinary story, and he just kind of transformed it into, this huge, iconic thing from the 80s, Back to the Future. Who has not heard of Back to the Future or seen Back to the Future? I hadn't until 2 or 3 months ago, but I know I've lost my mind. But I was like, I've got to see this film. I keep hearing I have to see it. So the directing was great. That's all I got to say. It's Robert Zemeckis. What can you say? The editing for this film was good, and I liked the pacing. I didn't think it got really draggy or anything like that. A couple scenes could have gone, but that's personal taste. So I thought the editing for this was great. The music was 10 out of 10. Oh my gosh, Alan Silvestri is a beast. He is so wonderful. And I read in the trivia that I think Steven Spielberg had heard some of Alan Silvestri's previous scores and was like, no, he can't work on the film. And then So Robert Zemeckis loves Alan Silvestri. He's scored Castaway and Forrest Gump and a bunch of other Rob's films. But anyway, he's like, well, just listen to this score that has been proposed for the film and tell me if you like it or not. So Steven Spielberg listened to the score. He's like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. And Robert Zemeckis is like, well, guess who wrote it? Alan Silvestri. So he's a beast. I love Alan Silvestri to death, and this is a great score. It goes so perfectly with the movie. The cinematography for this was great. I really liked the lighting. I liked the colors and everything. The dark and light was really great. And I know that sounds so general. I like the lighting. Like, I don't know what to say. There was a lot of brightness in certain scenes that I thought was very appropriate. If they lighted it any dimmer, it would have detracted, I thought. So I thought that was great, and great cinematography. The writing for this film is actually pretty good. It didn't really make me laugh a whole lot. And I know the diehard fans again are about to want to kill me, but I'm being honest. I didn't find it extremely humorous, but I was very entertained. And I thought the writing for this was great. The concept was good. The execution was good. I mean, there's a lot of lovely things about this movie. Let's jump into the Parents' Guide before we wrap this review up, guys. For language, there is a pretty good bit of it, but it's not ridiculous. We've got 5 uses of the S word, 3 uses of the B word, 3 uses of GD, 11 uses of D, 6 uses of H, and 3 uses of A. Moving on to sexual content, there's some cleavage, but it's like low-cut dress kind of thing. It's not really like in a sexual manner. There's some, mild kissing, da-da-da, and a man is seen in his underwear. So, if that tells you anything. Moving on to violence and gore, I can't think of any, actually. There's a few, like, intense, perilous moments. Oh, and there is, like, a gunfight. But other than that, nothing really. And it didn't bother me. Drug or alcohol? I can't think of any. So, and if I can't think of it, it didn't stand out. So it's obviously not that bad. To the fans of Back to the Future who are absolutely in love with this movie, I kind of get where you're coming from now. I mean, I know that this was such a huge film in the 80s because it connected so well with the generation. It was early tastes of Zemeckis and Spielberg. I understand now where you're coming from, and as I said, I'd never actually seen this movie, but I have now, so you guys can stop, I can't believe you've never seen Back to the Future. I can't believe I've never seen it either, but there's a first time for everything, and at least I've seen it now before I turn, 70. If you're a movie critic like myself, you definitely need to watch this movie, just for general knowledge. I'm giving this movie 4 stars out of 5, guys, and would I watch it again? I would watch this movie again. It's definitely worth a repeat. It'll be a while. For all the diehard Back to the Future guys and fans and all of that, I now understand where you're coming from and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, we have more in common now. Thank you so much for checking out my review of the 1985 film Back to the Future. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you guys later.